Hello everyone, it's Brooke. So summer has begun and the 4th of July is right around the corner, so I wanted to get this video out just in case, because in 2010 when I first went through my awakening, I was told at that time that we could expect to have mass sightings on the 4th of July, as in mass sightings of UFOs or spaceships, whichever you would prefer to call them. That there was going to be enough mass sightings that it would be undeniable that there is an existence of other life outside of our own perceptions. And that would get the ball rolling on disclosure. And what better time than the 4th of July, when a good majority of us will all be looking up at the skies simultaneously as the fireworks are going off. And I was disappointed because when I received this information in 2010, I had assumed that it was going to be that summer, that July 4th. But again, that was my own assumption. I didn't even think along the lines of this being a prophetic message about the future. I was ignorant enough to think that the information I was given meant that it was right around the corner of that year. And when there weren't a lot of reports, I mean, there were some sightings on that July 4th, but not on the scale that I was prepped for. They had told me it was going to be large, massive scale. So I'm wanting to put it out there now because a lot of the other information that they had told me is coming to pass this year, it seems. So, and the energies are high right now. It just seems likely that this is the year that they were referring to. But it's hard to say. They were very specific about mass sightings on the 4th of July, but they did not state what year this would take place. Like I said, I had assumed it would be 2010 when they, the same year they made contact with me. But it hasn't happened. But they definitely said it's going to be comparable to the Phoenix Lights sighting. It was definitely going to be on a large enough scale that it would be undeniable. And ironically enough, I'm sure we're all familiar with the Independence Day movie, which just happens to coincide with what they told me. So there might be something to this, and I wanted to put it out there just to be on the safe side. So definitely make sure you go out this 4th of July. Make sure you're celebrating and enjoying the festivities on this 4th of July in particular, because I have a feeling that this may be the year. I know one of the other channelers that I listen to on YouTube has also stated something similar, that they have a feeling about this 4th of July and disclosure. So that was just confirmation for me. That was kind of the match that lit the fire under my ass to go ahead and produce this video. I probably would have either way, just because of everything that has been taking place. Everything else that I was told is starting to come to fruition, which is going to be the next topic that I touch on, because it's not all rainbows and butterflies, guys. There's going to be a lot of death and natural disasters caused by a pole shift that we are currently experiencing. It has already begun. It's been scientifically proven. And when you think about what a pole shift means, when you visualize that in your mind, it's pretty much literal. At some point, the poles are going to reverse. There's going to be a lot of shifting of tectonic plates, movement of bodies of water and landmass. The weather will be affected. I mean, if I am under the impression that we are going to experience a full flip. Where we are currently at, traveling through the universe is exposing us to these energies that we are not accustomed to. And they're very strong energies. And right now, our magnetic fields of the planet are very weakened. And anything that comes into our orbit, whether it be a comet or a dying star, an unseen planet or star, is going to basically grab hold of our magnetic field, and it can flip us right up onto our opposite end. That is just how weak our gravitational and magnetic poles are right now. And I was led or guided to believe, like I said, back then in 2010, I had no idea how the Earth functioned. I had no idea what scientifically. I had no concept of magnetic poles, gravitational energies, like frequencies. I had no concept of any of these things. I didn't know about any of this until the information was given to me, and then I had to go look it up and validate everything. And since things are being confirmed, I have no reason to doubt this information that I received. I don't want to insinuate fear. I don't want to send people into a panic, but I do want you to be prepared. This pole shifting and the shifting of our planet that we're currently experiencing, you can see the effects that it's having on our world right now, as far as all these earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. That is no coincidence that we are experiencing all this flooding and chaos because of the effects that this pole shift is having on our planet right now. And it's not only physically affecting the planet, it's physically affecting the people on it. And that's why some of us are really aware of and feeling these energies, and some people are just completely oblivious to them or can't quite compartmentalize why they are feeling different or more irritable or moody lately. But I do feel like it's all relative, it's all connected. Because another big event that I was made aware of that goes hand in hand with this pole shift is the fact that this mega volcano at Yellowstone is going to explode. It is going to erupt, and that is going to be like the final catalyst to mark, quote unquote, the end of days as we know it. It's going to severely impact the planet and the people on it and just everything as we know it. I've attached, the safe zones. There's a couple of different depictions here. Just keep it in mind, take it in consideration. Better safe than sorry. It really does seem as though this is what's looming around the corner for us. And I think the reason there's a method to the madness, and the mass sightings must occur first to help awaken those that may not believe in the potential of aliens or off-world beings that are here to help us, or to help us ascend in order to avoid the really, really bad parts of this. But they're only willing to help those that are willing to help themselves. And you have to be willing to be saved. You have to be willing to board these spaceships or interact with these beings in order to make it to the new world. A lot of the souls on the planet right now are going to be able to avoid a lot of this tribulation, this coming tribulation, because we have done the work. We have been many prophecies, ancient texts, religions have been trying to prepare us for just this time for many like eons. Like, this has been expected, predicted, prophesized. And unfortunately, these souls that are still wandering the planet in ignorance and confusion, and that have just become lost or ignorant to the fact that this would actually come upon us at some point. They are going to have to continue into the three-dimensional reality of chaos and negativity. But those of us that are in these communities, and this is why I've been so like, it's go time. We gotta spread this message to the people that don't know, that aren't aware, that aren't chatting about this every day in our groups. It's because it is the reason for the mass awakening right now is so that we can actively talk about this with other people. You know, we need to bring them to the light. We need to help them understand the ascension process and the things that are to come, because it's sooner than you think. Like, I was first told about all of this in 2010. That's over 8 years ago now, and I have not done nearly enough as I should have, because I was fearful that I would be judged or persecuted and not taken seriously. But it's become apparent to me that I was given this information for a reason. I've experienced all of this for a reason, and I want as many brothers and sisters to ascend to this 5D reality as possible, to stop this wheel of incarnation and karma for as many as I can. So many people are drowning in their ignorance and negative vibrations. And that's because the real truth has not been presented to them. And they might be leading much different lives if it had been. And that's where, like, the parable of forgive them, Father, for they know not, comes into play for me. Because a lot of humanity does not know what kind of game they are involved in, what this reality really is about, and what options and choices they do have for themselves, their families, their souls. So that's my mission right now. I mean, it really does all go hand in hand. In order to perceive God in a physical sense, in order to experience God, that doesn't happen until you match the frequencies of this being or this spirit. And you can't usually obtain those frequencies until you find the God within. Once you are aware and recognize your own godliness, that's when you experience this enlightenment and the Kundalini, and you are one with God. And you do receive downloads. You do receive all these synchronicities. That is what it's all about. And we really need as many people to be vibrating at this frequency as possible. I do believe we are all God's children. I think we are not all mature enough to graduate and ascend and be with God. Our souls need to mature. That is this process of reincarnation. For some, it takes fewer lifetimes than others. This planet, this paradigm is a test for souls. And we are all born into this place connected with God, connected to our higher selves, our true selves. We all start from an equal playing field, okay? We all have, but it is free will. It is free choice. And it is true. There has to be dark and there has to be light. There has to be good and there has to be evil. Otherwise, how will your soul mature over lifetimes if you're not exposed to both? But ultimately, you make the choice of which path you're going to take in every moment. There is nobody to blame. There's nobody to give credit to except for yourself. This is all about your own judgment. You have your own God self, which could be referred to as intuition, gut instincts. But you have your God self to seek guidance from at all times. It just depends on, are you listening and acting through your heart? Or for the greater good? Or are you coming from a place of selfishness or judgment or fear in the decisions that you make, in the paths that you choose? Those that have stayed steadfast to their natural born selves, deflected outside opinions, judgments, indoctrinations as much as possible. I know it's hard to do that entirely in this paradigm, but as a living soul, those are the choices we're faced with and challenges every day in every moment. And if you figure that there is somebody keeping a scorecard on every one of us, it's all significant. And when I say too many people are lost or in their ignorance, it's just the mentality of somebody else died for my sins. I can do whatever I want. I can make whatever choices I want, no matter who it hurts or displaces or whatever. And that's just not, it's just not the truth, plain and simple. Not only does that make it too easy for you to just coast by and, stir up all the karma and drama that you want for you and anybody else in your path, but it takes away from those of us that have been doing the work, that have been trying to live a wholesome, loving, natural life. And that's where most of humanity has been duped. But look at all of us in these communities. A lot of us have left the religious paradigms because we did listen to our intuitions. We knew that it wasn't that easy. Or we knew it was fishy. I just don't know why more people haven't broken from that cycle by now. And maybe God put a lot more faith in his or her children than we even realize. I mean, if you just break it down and logically look at it all, if it were that easy to coexist and sit with God and live in this harmonious paradigm, then why aren't we there? Why aren't we doing it? What is this purpose of life and incarnation? If it isn't to separate the cream from the crop, you know? You can't be an asshole or a negative human being and expect to receive that honor. It is a reward, and it's a reward that you work for, you work towards. And it's not hard to attain it. It comes down to you. And more people need to accept responsibility for themselves and their own souls versus expecting somebody or something else to come save it. I don't think that's how this construct works. I do think this was all predetermined. This must be a program that has seen success in the past. Or it wouldn't still be in existence. You know, there's been multiples of us that have felt that this is a school for souls. And who's to say that it isn't? And who's to say that there isn't good reason for that? I would love more than anything for all of humanity to wake up and be positive, harmonious, loving beings. But that's just not how it is. That's not how it is here. That's not how all humans choose to be. And it's not until that they've learned this lesson that they will receive the calling or have these enlightening experiences. That's what the rift is between us. That's why some of us see these Mandela effects and some of us don't. It's because some of us we're already vibrating at a higher frequency than some of the other souls on the planet. And that causes the discord. But I have to reinstate. It's free will. Everybody to each his own. And I'm not going to sit back and judge. You know, I don't want to coexist with those kinds of people that have super negative frequencies, and I just think that has to be the grand design to all of this, is for our souls to achieve throughout lifetimes, you know, and exposure to all these experiences, and that one of these lifetimes our soul is mature enough that we recognize that this is the way and the only way. But right now, catastrophic changes are about to happen on this planet, and that's why we need to rapidly get our shit together real quick. And I know there are several souls that are still on the fence with everything, and if we can appeal to them with our truths, you know, those that, it's like we've already received our cap and gown, we just haven't walked the stage yet. But those of us that have received our cap and gown, we need to be sharing our knowledge and helping other people that might be on the fence find their way. I was told that this harvesting of souls only occurs about every 26,000 years. So that's the urgency right now. I was left with the impression that once you die, you immediately reincarnate again. There is no heaven for those that have died. They continue on with this cycle of learning. The gates to heaven are only opened up or available to us every 26,000 years. And it's only open to those that have the purest souls, whether be incarnate or not at that point in time. But the rapture, nobody is in heaven until that harvesting takes place. That was what they had instructed me or told me. So we're on the brink of something huge. Like, I understand time doesn't exist to them, but in our linear time, 26,000 years, that's a lot of reincarnating. as though this is an opportunity for us that isn't going to come back around again for at least another 26,000 years. If this isn't the final, I don't know what the plan is beyond ascension for humanity. But even if you look at it as though this is the final opportunity, it just makes me feel desperation to help wake up as many souls as possible at this time. Because shit is about to hit the fan for real. It has to. Otherwise, we keep wanting to use our logical minds and cling on to anything that would justify what we're going through and experiencing right now, other than what's really going on. And it seems obvious to me. And, I even struggle, like, no, this can't be. No. But it keeps smacking me in the face. Just as the earth is shifting. And, it shifts back and forth before its final swing to polar opposites, And I think that's what we're experiencing on an alchemical level. And that's why these energies, we have been feeling moody, or we might do something out of character and we're like, what? Because we are polar shifting in a sense. So are the animals. They had said these energies were going to affect everything and everyone on the planet. And I believe that's what we're observing the early stages of. By the end of this, and I think that's also why they say hold the light, stay out of fear, because by the end of this, I said the Earth's expected to do a full flip. Well, what if that's the case for humanity as well? Whatever pole you resonate with will end up being magnified 10 times. That's why those that are in positive frequencies, they're going to shift to 5D. Those are in negative, I don't know what the hell. Or perhaps that will be the hell that we've been warned about. But, and I keep thinking about the Purge movie. Like, I don't know. Like, it could get ugly. And I did receive some visions. I received some horrible visions of death and slaughter. And I don't want to be here when that shit's going down. So we got to stay positive. We got to keep our minds open. I'm not positive about the sequence of events, whether Yellowstone erupts before the poles flip or vice versa. I'm not positive of that. I would think that Yellowstone would go first. I would think the pole flipping would be the ultimate event we are trying to avoid. So I do feel that ascension will take place before the poles flip entirely. But anyone left here is going to experience that reality.